GCWM podcast. Just would like to let you know that Indy Wrestling Show is brought to you in association with the Babyface app, available on the Google Store and the Apple Store. Now, what is the Babyface app? Well, if you're a British wrestling fan, it is the only thing that matters. Want to check out what the latest shows are in your area? The Babyface app can do that. Want to check out the win-loss record for your favourite wrestler at the moment? The Babyface app can do that. Do you want to bring back the glory that was the Origin Banter Edition? Sadly, Babyface haven't got that kind of sorted out yet. Imagine it's in the beta stage, I can be assured. But if you want to check out any of their matches from Progress or anywhere else past, you can check it out at the Babyface app. Also, you can read loads of articles from loads of esteemed wrestling personnel, including ourselves, TWM. You can check out all of our BritWres articles in one easy place, and that is the Babyface app on the Google Play Store and Apple Store. Hello, I am Matty Deller. Welcome to the Indie Wrestling Show, bringing you the world of graps that is at your doorstep, covering things from the UK, USA, Japan, and anywhere else around the world. If you want to find out what's going on in the UK in particular, why not check out the Babyface app, available on the Apple and Google Play Store, home to some of our British wrestling blog posts. You can check them out on the TWM Wrestling profile. Joining me in our little divulge through the last 7 days, the last week in the world of independent and international wrestling, is my friend and yours. Some say he might be kid like us too. Cannot confirm, cannot deny, but we can say he's most definitely Mike Mears. Hello there.
I'm Mike Mears 1, the only one.
I'd be weird if you're like, I'm Mike Mears 0.5. I'm not even the full... I've not even reached my final form yet.
I need my expansion pack, damn it.
Don't we all in this day and age? We've got a lot to discuss. We've got a little bit of fusion, an elongated NWA power, and we'll be looking at Hard Times, and we'll be talking about Progress Chapter 101. So enough flim-flam. Let's get on with it, shall we? Fusion kicks off with a nice little recap of the Opera Cup as that concludes tonight in the main event. But first, we go with an MLW Middleweight Championship match as Myron Reed goes over El Lindemann, aka Other Tyler Bate, as we've called him several times. Myron Reed in an inset promo says he's not Cassius Clay, but Whitey is trying to hold him down. Honest, same. Reed tries to get a punch, but gets overpowered. By the way, for a reference, I got bored of writing El Lindemann, so I just started writing Linda.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
We know it's not Linda McMahon.
We know, because Linda McMahon, if you've ever seen my photoshops at Matty ID, can do a sick double moonsault off a cage.
One and Linda.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, genuine. I don't think I've ever seen you cry laugh.
No, it goes into the da 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 da. Da, 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 da.
I don't think I've ever seen you cry laugh as much as when I showed you the photo of Linda McMahon doing a double moonsault off a cage.
It's just in general, like, the Linda McMahon replacing Ricochet thing's the best.
Reed's chest protector helps him out, but it's not enough, and then Linda takes over. Lindemann yeets onto Injustice, and then yeets onto Myron Reed separately. Lindemann then batters Reed with big strikes and suplexes. Reed then hits a stun dog, a car, and a big slam for a near fall. Lindemann does a very nice drop kick, catching Reed coming off the springboard. Gets a big Komagoroshi for a near fall, but then Reed hits his big cut and the springboard 450 for the win. Good match. El Lindemann, we know, is very, very good, but it's another kind of nice proving ground for the up-and-coming Myron Reed.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of like when I've heard people talk about in the UK where, like, you get, like, the imports and it's a big showcase match for them, and I kind of feel like this was one of those for Myron Reed as well.
Yeah, like he's well on his way, and having that title is definitely helping matters. Alicia Twickett tries to talk to Brian Pillman Jr. About his match tonight. He said his shoulder is knackered, but he's foregone surgery to be in tonight's final. He must have seen the Impact Wrestling physician rather than Dr. Spengler from MLW.
He sat on the table and he's fine now.
Yeah. Could you see on the table? Then you're fine. Get out there. Pillman says Injustice reminds them of him when he was younger. Pillman, you are younger.
He's younger than all of them.
I know. He's doing the O'Brien Coffee, calling everyone young man, even though they are literally, he's 10 years younger than all of them.
Brilliant.
He talks about Davey Boy Smith, Hart family, and respect. We then get a bunch of ETs. We get one for the barbed wire match. King Mo's asked about the Opera Cup. He said he couldn't give a toss, really, and will face the winner. He also calls up Jacob Fatu, because remember, he is a black leprechaun. We get a recap of Gino Medina turning on Conan, and the Dynasty are in the VIP lounge. They tell us that Grogan Logan Schmogan is on guard. Medina calls Conan the Hogan of Mexico, and Hammerstone says he is the Hogan of nothing.
I love how protective of Hogan Hammerstone.
Yeah, he's like, how dare you? I love his Hogan tan. They do their Dynasty pinky promise, and we go into a street fight. This is Dino Medina over Savio Vega, who I will say looks a lot slimmer and is a lot more agile than the last time we saw him, where he was literally like a bag of spanners.
Yeah, but also in the same point, he doesn't have any reason to be in that good a shape but his age as well.
Yeah. Vega swings kendo stick early on and goes full quang with the karate shots. Medina works him over with a stick on the outside. We get trash can lids, trash cans, and chairs by Savio Vega. Medina hits Vega with a chair for a near fall. Medina gets some trash cans and a big knee for a near fall. Excuse me. Medina works over Vega until Savio Vega's up. I said he's moving a lot quicker and he's less round. Stop signs, kendo sticks, hockey sticks, and a chair neck for a near fall. Vega's up again, hits a spinning wheel quick. Dynasty distraction, Vega gets low blowed, and we get a big kick for the win. But the highlight of the match is afterwards, because we cut to the Dynasty doing the Macarena on stage.
Yeah. I'm surprised how well Hammerstone knew the moves, because MJF didn't. He had the idea of it, but it was almost like MJF was they were both at a party. MJF was sober, or relatively sober, and was very conscious of the actions he was doing. Hammerstone was full on going for it because he knew everything in his drunken sort of life.
That is a man that has been to Butlins on several occasions.
Are you implying that Hammerstone has worked the camps in the UK?
I would not be shocked. I imagine he's wrestled for Brian. Brian Dixon, that was the one. Yeah, he's worked for Brian. I said Brian Potter, which is probably the same, in all fairness. Yeah, I just love them doing that.
I didn't get, one thing about this match is I didn't like the finisher.
Is it the big Inzaguri that he does?
It was just lots of spins and a kick to the back of the head. It just didn't really seem to have any substance to it.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I didn't mind it personally because it kind of fits in with it, with his character and stuff. But yeah, I guess maybe they could improve it. But then again, is there any really really good finishing moves in MLW? Because it's all indie guys, so it's.
I was going to say the only really good one was Teddy's. Powerbomb lung blow.
We don't talk about him anymore, so he's a no.
He lost his eye.
We find out that Lawler may get suspended for use of nunchucks in New York because New York are cowards.
Well, that New York State Athletic Commission, what bastards.
Yeah. But I swear the Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman would have wrestled in New York, so why is he allowed? It's one rule for the big boys. By big boys, I only mean Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman is the big boy.
Steve Blackman is wrestling. But he might get suspended from, I think, specifically New York, which just amused me greatly. Then we get Alicia, a bloke outside Wembley. I covered that quite well because I was texting while I was talking. It doesn't look like I was filling time whatsoever. Talking to Davey Boy Smith Jr. was Alicia, a bloke standing outside Wembley saying free tickets. He talks about the Opera Cup, Brian Pillman Jr., and said he sees Pillman's passion, but tonight it is all business, not strictly business. That's the other show. Injustice have been kicked out and seemingly arrested. That seems a bit extreme. I can now understand why Injustice feel like they're being profiled.
It's like an episode of The Wire.
Yeah, it's like just when we don't want you interfering, so we're putting you in prison.
Not no, you got to go and sit in the back.
Yeah.
Room, in a locked room. No, we're going to take you to jail.
That is racial behaviour.
Surely in wrestling, surely the actual version of this is where you hang somebody in a cage above the ring.
I was worried where that was going. Well, in normal wrestling, we would just hang them. I was like, no, I think you're thinking of the 50s. You're thinking of somewhere very far back. Opera Cup final as the Davey Boy Smith goes over Brian Pillman Jr. This is going to be a yearly thing now, which is nice.
Yeah, the only thing that confused me, I didn't like about this is so today is the 22nd of January, which meant this would have aired on the 19th of January.
19th?
My maths is correct.
Yes.
No, 18th. But they kept going on about how this was the Opera Cup 2019. Yet most of the tournament took part in this year.
So that's a bit of a dick up on the editing part for them.
They need to They need to move it. They do. They need to move it so it's actually in 1 year. That's my only criticism, because it just seems really weird.
Or they
know what they mean.
Yeah.
It started in, so it covers that one, but like most of the tournament was in this year.
Or you call it like a football season. You said the 2019-2020 Opera Cup. Like, you got to cover your bases there. This was a really great match, though. Very slow, very methodical, but worked.
And you think of the fact this was the third match that these guys had on that night of tapings as well.
Yeah. David Boy Smith went over Brian Pillman. We get a very tentative open with Techers until David Boy Smith's power takes control. Get that big old school fight feel. Great narrative laid out about Pillman being the little... What I love, that AJ and Rich smashed it with this. I love them laying out the whole Pillman being the underdog and being almost the little brother of the Hart Foundation.
It was nice they got the time to do that, though.
Yeah. Rich Bikini's been a tremendous favourite of mine ever since we started covering MLW, but AJ Coach has really grown on me as he's a really solid colour commentator.
He's got that genuine passion for it as well. I think that's what really resonates with me.
The only issue is they do sound very similar, so sometimes I can't tell which one is talking.
A little bit.
I feel like I'm getting a little bit, Meme Machine with the two Bobs on commentary. Abs-fucking-lutely, Bob. Pillman hits a drop kick and a big dive to Davey to take control. Then Davey Boy Smith cuts that off with a big boot. He works over Brian with a big suplex. He fights back with chops and strikes. Not a lot of work on the shoulder. There was not a lot of grabbing the shoulder and stuff. I know it's meant to be sportsmanship, but you think there'd be one spot maybe where David Boy Smith accidentally wrenches the shoulder or something, but it didn't really happen.
No, I think they were playing the sportsmanship aspect into it, and because their faces, they are not such playing by the rules, but not trying. They're trying to win, but not try and injure the other one. Yeah,
we got a little bit later on after David Boy Smith missed a big leg drop from the top. When he does the air Pillman, they talk about how he used his wrist rather than the crook of his arm, which is a nice little thing to get. David Boy Smith hits a jumping tombstone, a flying headbutt for a near fall. It keeps hitting moves. It hits like a running power slam. They hit slaps and then powerbomb crossface. Pillman tries to roll him up, but then he gets rolled back through, forced to tap out, and then we see David Boy Smith Jr. celebrating and shaking hands with Pillman Jr. to close the show. I hope that they're going to imply that this now means that David Boy Smith is getting a title. I'm hesitant to say anyone related to the Bulldog about a title shot because I'm scared that he's going to throw a bin. So...
Davey Boy Smith Jr. is going to win, whether he wants to or not.
Even though I would like to just see Davey Boy Smith running around with that cup going, "Where's my title shot?" Just throws it, somehow still hits Stephanie McMahon in the head from MLW. It's a 90-minute special of NWA Power as they hype up Hard Times, which is this Friday, which we'll talk about obviously towards the end of this. I didn't realise that until late doors, until PR Kayla was like, by the way, Matt, it's a 90-minute show. I'm like, what? But it was a really, really good episode.
I think I was just annoyed at these two shows this week that MLW went the full hour and this went an hour and a half, where normally both shows combined are just over an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's almost as if there's too much wrestling. It's too much.
Who'd have thunk it?
We get Joe Galley and Stu Bennett hyping up the show before Dave Marquez welcomes his guest, Robert Gibson, and he just basically hypes up his Menine Ricky Morton's world title match, and we go straight into our opening contest, which is Thunder Rosa going over Tasha Steelz. This was actually, they kind of got a bit more out of this, and I said Thunder Rosa, if you listen to the excellent preview of Hard Times, courtesy of Stu Bennett on TWM Talks on Monday, he talks about how Thunder Rosa is one of his favourite wrestlers right now. She's probably one of the probably one of the most well-rounded acts in the NWA right now. But Tasha's
clearly the best character.
Yeah, and they're kind of fleshing it out nicely. And Tasha Steelz is just very, very good. I'm a big fan of hers. I hope she gets more opportunities down the line. They go hold for hold. Thunder Rosa takes control, putting the boots to her. So she starts working the neck with dragon sleepers and stuff. Still gets her boots on a big charge, then gets hit with a drop kick, and then he's just dropped with a big set out reverse DDT for the win. Dave Marquez then talks to Thunder Rosa about what's going on with Melina. She has to ask her herself, please don't. Please stop giving Melina mic time. For the love of God, no.
Thunder Rosa, you have your own lovely voice.
Haha, you have feelings for someone. Mocking, yeah, that's right, Dave Marquez. Mike fancies Dave Marquez. We hear from Nick Aldis, who says that he will be at Ring of Honor Free Enterprise, and asks all the NWA fans, because it's free tickets, to join them there as they invade Marty Skelsev. Can we ask people from if anyone there is like TWM, can you just turn up and buy some merch and then turn up to Ring of Honor and you could be the third brand that's invading?
Put it this way, if you go into the show and you listen to us or anything, you're getting a free ticket, so use that money to buy some merch from us and wear it.
There you go, problem
solved. It makes sense.
Joe Galley then talks to Royce Isaacs about Nick Aldis, and Isaacs starts putting over Strictly Business. Then Joe Galley goes, you're on a losing streak, mate, you're a bit shit. And then immediately fucking incel blames his woman.
Well, I did like the start of this promo where he was like, why are you asking me about Nick and you always ask Nick about Camille? Should I get Tommy out here and you can ask him questions about me? I was like, I like that.
I love it. Just like he's still doing the old Two Ronnie sketch where he's answering the question from before, just going around like that. And then I thought I was safe on this podcast. Once I got away from Raw on the regular, I thought I was safe in this, but no, cucks have invaded the NWA.
God, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
there's an underbelly of cucks in wrestling.
Oh, the Cuck Chronicles have gone national. Isaacs lets slip that he hasn't slept with May yet, and Valentine preaches the virtues of being pure and gets booed for it. This was a really fucking weird promo.
I hate to think where this is. The weird thing is, like, Lagana and I can't think of his fucking Billy Corgan.
Billiam Corgan.
Don't strike me as the type to go down this very Heyman-esque storyline. So I'm just like, what the fuck are we gonna get?
What I loved about that, I genuinely thought you were going to say, I don't know, Dave Lagana and Billy Corgan don't strike me as cocks, so this is very strange. Anyway, enough cucking. Let's talk about some wrestling. As we get an NWA television title tournament qualifier, Trevor Murdoch upsets Tommy Latimer. These two immediately just start battering the crap out of each other. Latimer just batters Murdoch for the majority of this match, and then Murdoch just, as Latimer misses a charge, rolls him up, grabs the tights, which we see a lot tonight, and he gets the win. So Murdoch is going to lose to the question mark on Friday.
Of course he is, because everybody loses to the question mark.
Everybody karate. We get a recap of the issue between Melina and Allysin Kay. Then Joe Galley brings us Melina and the women's champion Allysin Kay, and we get the world's most confusing promo from Melina, to the shock of no one, because she says that Allysin Kay will face Thunder Rosa at halftime, the big game, at Hard Times for the title, if she can beat Marty Bell in a no DQ match tonight. So Allysin Kay is earning a chance to defend her belt against the. It's so weird.
It's convoluted. I understand what they're trying to get at.
Yeah,
it would have only made sense if it was like, oh, you can wrestle me if you beat if you beat Allysin Kay, you can't beat yourself. If you beat Marty Bell, and then
that'd be the great heel tactic, wouldn't it? If you have to beat yourself in a match to earn a match with me. Put someone in a one-person Iron Man match so they're absolutely knackered by the time they wrestle you. They seem to be giving Melina this weird gimmick, mainly because I think Ty is doing the Melina gimmick better than Melina ever did now. So
But Tyler can cut a promo.
This is true. We get an ODQ match against Alison Kay and Marty Bell, which is Alison Kay's qualifying match for face Thunder Rosa. Marty Bell lays in forearms to open, and then Kay just hits a boot. Bell then drops Kay on the steel steps and uses a steel chair. Bell misses a big charge, then eats a chair as Alison Kay comes back. They head into the crowd and exchange blows. Kay was about to twat Marty Bell with a chair, but she's like, no, we're friends. They do the whole Gargano Ciampa spot, and then she has to grab the chair, and Alison Kay goes, no, you cheeky biscuit, and hits the AK-47 onto the chair for the win. It was an okay match. It was fine. Some of the chair shots were a little bit
to an end, isn't it?
A little bit iffy. We get another recap of the Aldis and Ricky Morton situation, and then Dave Marquez talks to the Pope and Eddie Kingston. I do love the Pope just being out and out. I was like, well, your team lost last week, so I didn't fucking lose. They've got nothing to do with me, bruv. I'm just trying to find people. He's like, I'm trying to find my Avengers and my horsemen that will bring change to the NWA. And Marquez asks about Homicide, and Kingston just goes, don't talk about my friends. Shut up, please. And said they shouldn't have taken the match last week, but Pope talked them into it. So I think they're doing basically almost a bit like a devil's advocate thing with the Pope, that he's like talking Eddie Kingston and Homicide into wrestling when they're clearly not ready to.
Yeah, it looks that way. It's a bit odd, isn't it? Because the last couple of weeks, whenever they've shown Eddie Kingston, he's looked very reluctant to be involved in whatever's going on. Yeah,
it's almost like he doesn't really... Homicide really trusts the Pope, and Eddie Kingston doesn't. I think that's where they're going with this. And he says he's going to replace Homicide in the last chance gauntlet tonight, but Kingston says no. Joe Galli's been called away on business. In reality, I think his voice was fucked, so he needed to take a break for the main event.
Laryngitis took control.
So Carl Davis is joining Stu Bennett, and then we get what could be one of the best segments I've ever seen in wrestling.
Isn't Kyle Davis the third member of Aussie Open?
He is the long lost.
Is this the fake Aussie Open?
This is
Kyle Davis
and Joe Galli. Aussie Ajar. That was terrible. So we get a karate demonstration from Aaron Stevens and the question mark.
This was brilliant.
This was so good, so funny.
I absolutely adored this.
It just can everyone please bow towards Monrovia? But the best part was no one turned around, so they all bowed in the wrong fucking direction.
Yeah, maybe they were so respectful that they bowed to like the other side of the world, so their bow went all the way around the world.
That makes sense. And we get a demonstration.
Basically, none of them there are flat earthers.
There we go. We get a demonstration of karate. So we see self-defense for the streets, at home, with hidden weapons and multiple opponents. I just started to go, look, he's got a gun, and pulls out the no fun gun. Look, some mace.
The last one was like, he's got a spatula.
Oh yeah, if he's being attacked in the kitchen.
Do you remember the price of the to train at the school? $99 a week. That
bargain.
A very low deal.
But then we get question mark concludes he's going to break some Mongrovian oak, as we know is the hardest oak in the world. But Aaron Steve goes, Sensei, I am ready. And says he's ready to get his 4th degree. However, then one of the master students just smacks him really fucking hard with that board, like the dust that flew off that.
And I don't think that was because they hadn't used that. Nobody had picked up that board for a long.
No, he smacked the dust off of. That was Aaron Stevens' soul leaving his body.
That was every single small tiny speck of skin that was ready to fall off Aaron Stevens just combusting off.
That was what was left of Damien Sandow.
Exactly.
Just left his body. And then Ricky Starr says he tells Dave Marquez that he never forgets. We get the last chance gauntlet, where Ken Anderson defeated, we'll go through all of them. You had Josephus, Dave Dawson, Caleb Conley, Sal Renaro, C.W. Anderson, Aaron Stevens and Colt Cabana. Because Zane Dawson won his match last week and they've gone, nah, fuck you, your hand's broken, you're not in the tournament.
Fucking harsh, that is.
They made 2 tag team partners and brothers fight each other and then went, nah, you can't wrestle, sorry mate. Sucks to be you. So, like, not really a lot happened until basically Ken Anderson got in.
Weird concept about with like the gauntlet, where they were like, you can tell obviously they were on a time limit as such, because they were like, oh, everybody that comes in it comes in 2 minutes apart. So basically, it's the New Japan Rumble then.
Yeah, basically, this was the the old, what was it called? The Aztec Warfare.
Yeah,
it was that. Sal Renaro falls off the top rope and saves it by grabbing his leg. Zicky Dice comes out and cuts a promo for no reason whatsoever. But the highlight of which is because he's stuck in 1984, he was amazed that the microphone didn't have a wire.
Yeah.
That was great. And then basically Ken Anderson comes out and eliminates pretty much everyone. The question... you obviously have Aaron Stevens come in, walk in the ring, roll back out and roll under the ring.
Because he's very smart. But
then the question mark comes in and tries to help Aaron Stevens, but then he hits him with a double Mongrovian spike, and we get the best sell of all time.
This was... Even if you haven't seen this, you've got to go and just watch.
If I can find the GIF of Aaron Stevens, I will make a GIF and we'll put it on there. He goes stiff, almost as if he's been paralysed like a Pokemon.
It's that thing, like, everybody... Like, we love when Trent goes stiff, but the fact we had like the bounce off the ropes on this was just perfect.
I think he was. Did you see the GIF of like it's about like a 70s 80s wrestling show where the ref gets hit and he bounces off the rope 1, rope 2, rope 3 onto the floor?
No.
There's a GIF like a ref takes a shot and he literally bounces off the rope 1, goes fully like rigid, bounces off 1, then goes to the second one, the third one, and then hits the floor. It's amazing, and I feel like he was going for that, which was really, really good. And then I just love, Carl Davis just goes, he's paralysed. He's devastating double Mongrovian shot. Oh, it was gold. He gets eliminated, and then right at the end, Anderson and Colt shake hands, and Anderson rolls him up with the tights to win the match, and then they seem to make up Anderson Colt Cabana, but lol, shock of all shock, Ken Anderson's an asshole as he low blows him, hits him a mic check, and then we see a spot that I'm shocked we've never seen him do before, which should be a really good heel spot, which is the mic check into the ring post.
Yeah, that surprised me as well that I hadn't seen it.
Yeah, it was a nice little spot. Dave Marquez then talks to Eli Drake, not drunk, which is a shame. James Storm, probably drunk, standard, about Ricky Morton. Drake says that Morton will win the title here tonight, and Storm puts over Morton's abilities, and then James Storm gets everyone to pray that Morton beats Nick Aldis tonight. It's a nice little inset promo. We get some breaking news, basically filling up the rest of the card, which we'll talk about in a minute, so we'll come to that later on. Do my eyes deceive me? It's Billiam Corgan.
It really is him.
And he's going to be on comms. They do announce, by the way, before this, that if Ricky Morton wins the belt, he'll defend it at Hard Times. If they don't, then the Rock and Roll Express are defending the belts. We'll find out what happens. In the NWA World Heavyweight title match, spoilers, Nick Aldis defeats Ricky Morton. This was really, really fun. I got a little bit fearful because it was 12:30 and they said a 60-minute time limit. And then I looked at how long this had been streaming for, and I thought my eyes deceived me when it was like, this has been streaming for 50 minutes. And I'm like, don't tell me that like they've messed it up and this is like... and there's another half an hour left.
40 minutes.
Luckily it didn't. They did very, very well. They did a lot in this. It was basically a very old school NWA, like, world title match they'd have on TV now and again. Like, it was a really, really good match. Billiam Corgan demands all seconds leave ringside.
See, Court Bauer, this is what happens. This is what you do. You don't just, I don't know, get people arrested.
You politely ask them to leave.
Send them to the back.
And send one shouty man out to tell one of the teams to leave. Like, all this waste time, and then they lock horns. And basically Morton out-wrestles Aldis in the beginning. And then we get a big kick and allows Ray gain control. But then Morton just keeps fighting back. Aldis then hits an eye rake and then drives him into the ring post. Aldis works over Morton. And then Morton looks in the figure 4, but Aldis makes the ropes. And then Morton tries an inside cradle and Aldis counters it with a hook of the tights for the win. It was a good match, really, really good match. But then we get an interruption, and it's Marty Scurll interrupting with Impact font. Someone made this on iMovie.
It was very basic, wasn't it?
Yeah, it'd be funny if it was in Comic Sans.
They didn't. I would have loved it if they'd have just like stuck a piece of paper in front of the camera.
I have to go now. My enterprises needs me. By the way, massive ratings to Joe Galley to liking my tweet when I said Joe Galley had to go back to his home planet when he left his commentary. He didn't get the joke. He did send me a Doctor Who one back, so still. Yeah.
Disappointed now.
So, let's go through the card, shall we? Of course, if you want a bit of a, if you want a little bit more of a like a long form preview, you can listen to the interview with Shirley and Stu Bennett, but they didn't have the benefit of the whole card. There'll be preview out at the end of the week on Friday, so we can have a little look through the card itself. So NWA tag team titles, Rock and Roll Express versus the Wild Cards versus Storm Drake. You know what, screw it, let's do some predictions. Why not? Sounds like a laugh. I probably Rock and Roll Express, I imagine, is going to win this.
Yeah, there's a little part of me that thinks maybe they're gonna do Storm and Drake.
Maybe, but I feel like they've like they had the Wild Cards, keep it on the Rock and Roll Express, and then you can maybe build up whatever team Pope's going to bring in to face them.
Yeah, maybe.
The match we're all excited for, when they just randomly drop this in. I
can't believe this match is happening.
Oh, fuck, I can't believe you've done this.
Exactly.
For the national title, Aaron Stevens versus Scott Steiner. Why?
It doesn't make any sense.
But does it need to?
This is almost the equivalent of we just going down and it's like, there's two guys left. Well, I guess you're wrestling each other then, aren't you? Like, what two is it? Aaron Stevens and Scott Steiner.
Oh, that'll do. Fuck it. I want Scott Steiner to win, but I feel like Aaron Stevens... I imagine Aaron Stevens is going to get himself counted out or something. It's going to be a shitty... Because there's no way Scott Steiner's going to say he's going to lose. Generally so exciting. I don't know how that's going to go. NWA Women's title match, Allysin Kay versus Thunder Rosa. I feel like the end game here is Melina's going to demand that Thunder Rosa lays down and gives her the belt.
Yeah.
So I think Thunder Rosa's winning the title.
It would make sense. Allysin Kay, she's held the belt since the 70th anniversary show, so... Was it the 70th? Or I think the Crockett Cup?
I think it was the 70th anniversary show. I'm fairly certain it was. Here's a question for you, because I put this on Twitter last night. Would you class Allysin Kay as underrated?
I find it's very difficult to tell somebody's true in-ring wrestling ability on this show, because I don't think they get a lot of time for a lot of the matches. Because
for me, I just felt like I went she's insanely talented, but I feel not enough people talk about her.
But I think it's because everything I know, obviously it's not really about her because the chase is for the title, so it is more about the heels in this sort of dynamic, and I think that's kind of taken the shine off her. They never established her as a champion to then make it worthwhile someone knocking her off.
Yeah, but I just feel like that maybe she's gone under the radar in kind of the wider scope of things as being a really good wrestler. Just thought I'd throw it out there. By the way, I did laugh when they had I think Melina said something about Allysin Kay saying not being one to stick up for people in the back, and I'm like, have you not read her Twitter?
This was clearly recorded a little while ago
before the unpleasantness. We got Nick Aldis versus Flip Gordon. Forbidden Enterprises are apparently all going to be there. I don't know whether that means just Brody and Flip and not PCO, because I doubt PCO will be there.
The promo that they had for Flip Gordon was actually really good.
Yeah, because I feel like I've not really watched Ring of Honor, so I don't know how they really built up Flip Gordon from otherwise has been, I'm a bit dark and brooding now.
Well, so they've doubled down on him being the mercenary, from what I've heard, so that's kind of good, and him being the one to come in to almost defend Marty.
Yeah,
it's a nice touch.
Flip's winning. I think Flip's beating Nick Aldis with the help of Marty Skull. So, anyway, TV title first round. We'll go through these. Actually, let's go through the thing, and then we'll see who do you think is going to be the one who wins. So we got Tim Storm versus Ken Anderson, Ricky Starks versus Matt Cross. That was I was very happy when I heard that.
Yeah, that's somebody deserving of that platform.
That match is going to slap as well. Starks versus Cross is going to be very, very good. Zicky Dice versus Dan Maff. I'm not going to lie, I saw that when we saw Quinn McKay, I was like, please let it be Mark Haskins. I was really hoping it was Haskins.
That would have been so cool if it was Haskins.
But they wanted a big guy, basically, either to Zicky to get a fluky win or to get battered by. And then we got the rematch from Into the Fire, question mark, versus Trevor Murdoch. So we'll do this, because I don't think, did you give a prediction for Aldis and Flip, or do you agree?
I don't know. I think Aldis wins.
Do you think Aldis wins?
Because I think it damages him as champion, and if Flip wins, he's arguably due a title shot. So I think it kind of muddies those waters. Right.
I feel like I know the answer to one of the questions, but I'm going to ask anyway. TV title tournament. Who do you think is winning, and who do you want to win?
I want to win.
I think we both agree. We want the question mark to win so badly.
Outside of that, I think it'd be really cool if Tim Storm won, but I think Ricky Starks is going to win.
I don't think Ricky Starks is going to win, because I feel like they're building Aaron Stevens against Ricky Starks going forward. I think Ken Anderson's winning. I think, because we're going to get, and then we get Anderson versus Cabana for the TV title.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like Tim Storm makes it, but I think Anderson's going to win, and then Cabana's going to beat him up post-tournament match, and then we go through to that. But yeah, Hard Times, baby, on Friday. We'll be covering that live tweet. You can check out predictions as well on twm.news, the revamped twm.news. You can go and check it all out. And because there's 14,336 pay-per-views on this weekend, we will be covering Hard Times on next week's The Indie Wrestling Show. So yeah, check it out then.
Why not spread? I said, why not spread the gospel of the TWM squad with some of our lovely merch over at Teespring? We have t-shirts for all shapes and sizes, hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and loads more. Also, just for listening to this podcast, you can get 10% off your order. I said using the code PODCAST. That's PODCAST. Once again, PODCAST in the checkout for 10% off at teespring.com/stores/TWM-wrestling-merch. That's right. Praise. Testify.
It is a brave new era for Progress Wrestling. Chapter 101, Dalmatian. See what they did there. We're out with the Jim and in with the Richards. And we said this for ages, and a lot of people will say, oh, it's just going to be the same thing, they just change ring announcer. We said expect a massive shift in Progress, because I think I even said when we were there, in the end, when we were standing around, I think I said to you that I don't think it's a case of Jim has replaced Matt as part of the committee. I think Matt has replaced Jim as part of the committee. I think Matt is the driving force now, because the others are focused on other things. So I did say we get a massive shift, and I don't think we were wrong.
No, I think you've got that classic thing of somebody coming in who's clearly got a lot of ideas and really wants to sort of put them in place, and John and Glenn are maybe sort of like shaving the edges off the craziness and like the untried and
the filter, if you will.
Yeah.
Because this was the first, and I did use this, and I'm like, it made me laugh that Progress liked it, because it did seem like a bit of a dig, but it wasn't, honestly. I said this felt like peak 2017 Progress show.
This was like the levels when Pete was champion.
Between chapter 50 to chapter 70, that sort of ballpark.
Yeah.
I could be completely wrong with that, but I think that's Pete's era, like that around that time.
There or thereabouts.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, I kept saying, I feel like we can get a title change. We did. Not in the way we thought we were going to get one, but we did.
Yeah.
So the big news is that NXT UK York, Eddie Dennis dislocated his shoulder, which is horrible. We wish him...
he separated his shoulder.
I always...
There is a massive big difference.
He did separated his shoulder, so he's out for pretty much, I would say, the rest of the year. I think
separated shoulders, honestly, I think he'll be back late summer, early autumn.
Oh, so it's not as bad as dislocated.
They're not, like, depending, like, if you get like a type 1 separated shoulder, it can heal in like 2 weeks with no surgery, no nothing. it's the bone coming away from the joint, so the way it swells out, it stretches the ligament, and that's what causes a lot of the issue.
So the issues with the ligaments and the tears and the ligament
based, yeah.
So he has to relinquish the title. Some people are dicks, because apparently that rule doesn't apply anymore. Jim's gone, so there's no more rules. They did point out, by the way, that Progressive changed a little bit. They've now started to put up there's flags all around the thing, which looks really, really cool. But then Eddie made a good point. He's like, did the fans do that? And he goes, no, it was us. He went, slightly less cool then. I was like, yeah, it's a good point, to be fair.
No, but it's a bit like, I imagine, as a kid you'd think of like having like a tree house or something like that.
Yeah.
That was like Progress posters that were up.
We need a rope swing in the ballroom.
No, we fucking don't.
Not with one person there. He won't be allowed to use it. I don't think.
Oh, maybe that's the reason we can't go on the one part of the balcony.
because
that's where they're installing it.
Yeah, it depends though, because there's one wrestler there. He seems to constantly be given enough rope, and he just constantly keeps hanging himself with it.
Yeah,
we'll get to him in a little bit. But then basically, I love this because he was set to give the belt to Mark Andrews, but the point is they were trying to like lay it on at how ridiculous it was, but they just made themselves laugh.
It was great though. Eddie broke. Mark was pretty still in character.
For the fact he went to one knee like he was proposing, and then Eddie just went.
Exactly.
Matt Richards then was like, no, we're having a 4-way and you got to qualify it. Kara's in the match straight away, and we got a 4-way for the gold in the main event. So we got Mark and Ilya coming up first, and then Ilya beats Mark in second. Perfect booking. Works so well. Loved it.
I agree with the booking, but this is actually potentially controversial for me. I'm disappointed we didn't get the match.
Honestly, I would not be, unless they're going to do the champion against Mark Andrews in Cardiff. I would not be shocked if they end up doing a redo on this and chapter 102. Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
But it was good, and then you basically had Eddie just really pissed off at Mark, and we started the chant of "World Champ and you fucked it up," which I was quite happy with, to be fair. Because everyone was just doing the basic ones. I was like, no, let's do the classic like 2-0 and you fucked it up. So I had to go "World Champ and you fucked up," and it worked. So I was happy with that. We then get Pretty Deadly over More Than Hype. This was thing is though, we have the Progress friendly themes. But every time I heard the More Than Hype one on this show, I just kept singing "It's a Beautiful Life." In my
I was singing it the whole way home.
It's so annoyingly catchy. Pretty Deadly over More Than Hype was a good little tag match. Like there was a little flub. That like car crash spot where they do the jumping over each other still gives me anxiety, because one of these days they're going to hit each other really fucking hard in the middle.
I think they've got it perfected. Honestly,
but it was really, really nice, and Pretty Deadly are 5-0, so I imagine that they'll be 103. Probably they'd get a tag title shot, one would imagine. So
we've got a tag title shot at 102, haven't we?
Yeah, but I imagine the winners will probably face Pretty Deadly at 103.
Pretty Deadly. The thing coming out of this for me is, it's not like I've forgotten it or not realised it, but this match really defined how great of like that shithead, fucking dickhead heels that Pretty Deadly are.
Oh, they're so good at just being such dickheads. It's so funny. It's just the constant spooky fingers and them saying spooky fingers. It's just it's so dumb. It's annoying how good their merch is as well.
They bring a t-shirt out with that on, I'm gonna buy it.
They've got like the 90s retro shirt. I was so tempted. When I get paid next time, if they're a show, I'm buying that shirt. We then get Carl Fletcher over LJ Cleary, or should we call Carl Fletcher the new best bout machine, because my god, Emo Kyle is banging out these fucking bangers, isn't he?
He's legitimately just killing it, isn't he?
He's so good.
As soon as the match, like what they were doing on the show, got announced, like Kyle was my call. I was like, no, they're going to give it to Kyle. He's going to be singles for this year now because of Mark only just having his surgery. and when Pete won the title, he won it out of nowhere as well. So why not?
We were on board with that. This is a weird comparison, but bear with me here. I'm getting Carl Fletcher getting a real bang of New Japan AJ Styles off this new persona.
Yeah, I can see that now. I've seen it. I'm like, it all fits into place.
He is going to do bits this year, and then also after a gear removed, it probably means that when whatever company gives Carl the belt, we can have Carl versus Mark as a feud, which would be really, really good. Then we get the Proteus title match. Oh, by the way, no disrespect to LJ Cleary, he was fantastic as well, but it just Carl's on another plane of existence at the moment. It's unreal. Proteus title match, Paul Robinson over A-Kid, and we got a little bit of everything. Like, Ilya and Mark was a good storyline match. We got a really good tag match of Pretty Deadly More Than Hype. Carl Fletcher and LJ Cleary was work rate. A-Kid and Paul Robinson just went full Tetsujin, and it was so good.
No, they had an actual fight.
I'm pretty sure they both. I want to say A-Kid laid in a like a pretty stiff punch first, and then Paul's like, "All right, then this is real."
Exactly. There was one point where you could tell Robbo had fucked his left arm up because he switched stance, and he was comfortable doing it from his kickboxing sort of days, but you could see he was in a bit of trouble with it.
Yeah, he was like, fucking hell, this Spanish bloke wants to fight. I was like, again,
stamp on his fucking donkey.
I feel that's racial.
No, it's what you bring back when you go on holiday to Spain, a Spanish donkey, isn't it?
Oh, if we said stamp on his donkey.
I did say stamp on his donkey, but I meant not his actual donkey.
They throw donkeys from us, they allegedly what said Peter instead of imagine Pete Dunne turns up. No, he would get angry if someone stumped on a donkey, to be fair. He does love animals. So yeah, then right, enough chat about donkeys. William Eva, this has been a hot button issue in the last 4 or so days. Right, let's go. So William Eva's obviously doing this unhinged quasi Bruiser Brody style like tribute mixed with a little bit of like he's a Bruiser Brody style wrestler mixed with a little bit of Terry Funk, splash of Messiah CM Punk in there as well. Yeah, he's very much out there and just. With the thing is though, a bit mental. Is there a point in 2020 where you need to know where to draw the line? Because there was a moment in this match where he got people to move. First of all, he is again taking that loudspeaker, putting it in people's faces, and putting the feedback right in their ear, and swinging the speaker around. Incredibly dangerous. Gave me tremendous fear that he was going to just twat someone in the head and they'd get sued. Cut to 20 minutes later when William Eva has ran at full force into the wall of the Electric Ballroom and broken it. Just to point out the point, that would have, if Oshin hadn't have said to me and Gadge to move, we'd have ended up through that wall. Like, we were still there. Like, the hole was between us. And, like, he came out and sort of, like, landed on us, and he was like, move. So I moved across, like, one seat, and he was like, no, move. So I was like, shit, something's going down. Yeah. The key, like, with that thing as well, imagine they got Bill's insurance, because the backstage staff looked fucking like horrified that happened, and I think social media Adam looked at it and went, shit, we are in trouble. But Matt made a joke about it. Yeah, so I imagine they spoke about it and they've gone like, I don't think it's as much as I don't think it's Pastor being like William Eva just being crazy or anything. Yeah, I don't know, but then there's the bit after that where it's obviously a planned spot because Oshin knew about it. It's a planned spot, and maybe William Eva threw himself a bit too hard into it. Just a bit, but then they're not that thick. Like, yeah, the board in there isn't thick, so I think really if I'd have put enough force in with like my elbow sat in front of it, I could have broken it a bit. But then there's also the bit where William Eva just threw OGMO into a crowd of people without giving them any fair warning. Now and now there's loads of stuff coming out where he's been a dick to people in the crowd. And then some people have just taken it a bit too far. I'm personally really disappointed in Tom Irvin, because me and you, as much as Sebastian was wildly inappropriate on Twitter. May his Twitter account rest in peace. He still had a bit of comment
with the line, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a bit of comment about him, whereas Tom Irvin's gone full all out. I'm just going to hurl abuse at people and make fun of disabilities, and RJ Singh tried to be like, there's no need for any of this, and then Tom Irvin's just gone for him, accusing him of culture appropriation. This is a big hot button issue. We can kind of just brush over this and then go on to the show. But with you, how far is too far? Do you reckon William Eva's gone too far here? We know Tom Irvin's definitely gone too far, which is a real disappointment because I really love the Geezers. We both love the Geezers. We think they were hilarious back in the day.
I find it really difficult to say that he's gone too far, other than more of a case of he didn't go far enough to protect fans.
Yeah.
I think that's really it, because as much as, wrestlers got obligation to look after each other in the ring, there is still the fact that everybody else outside the ring, is untrained. It's like unexpected.
It's very much like the circus. Like, if there's trapeze acts about, there's a reason they have stuff up across, and they tell everyone to stay well away, so on and so forth, because they pay the paying punters. You can't just go, well, you've paid, therefore there's a good chance you might get someone in your lap. It's just.
But at the same point, in a way, I look at it and go, well, being in a wrestling crowd, and especially being in the first few rows, you always stand the chance of somebody coming out of the ring, something happening. But, fair enough. It's at the same point that if you're sat behind the goals at a football game, you're going to expect the ball to potentially end up somewhere near you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I understand both sides of it.
I feel like maybe
where I think Pastor didn't do enough.
I feel like
to respect the crowd.
I think makes sense. The overall line on it. Sorry, you cut out a little bit, so I did interrupt. I apologise. I think the overall line is. I think honestly, and I feel like this will get me in so much shit online. But I'm going to say, I think some people have been a bit too precious about it.
I agree. I agree, and it's that thing of mentality.
Yeah, one person jumps on, and then everyone else decides to join in the proverbial pile, if you will. But then at the same time, Eva's got to fucking be careful, because the way his little routine at Progress, that could cost him a Progress run. We've seen people do less and not be seen in Progress for a year or two. Not naming any names, TK Cooper. And
the fact it is wrestling, and those sort of how people are rubs off on the people around them.
Yeah,
and especially the people extremely close.
Pretty good 6-man, in spite of the fact. It looks like they're doing OGMO versus Treve. I think that's basically, they're doing that as these are the next two guys to go up to the main event, so to speak.
Do you think they can drag this out to Strong Style?
I wouldn't be shocked if OGMO Treve is the final of Strong Style.
Yeah.
As a big show of we are backing young talent.
Interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. I would maybe say
maybe a
semi-final.
Yeah,
maybe a semi-final.
I wouldn't be shocked if that this was a final, because Oku's on the roll of his life, and Treve is just, he's so good, and I feel like he's deserved a big push in Progress for a long time, and he's finally getting it. But we'll have to see. Progress women's title there, Ginny go over Mercedes Blaze. It was a shame because she just ran Mercedes got a little bit of hope in, but they had Ginny just run straight through her.
I thought it was pretty even as a match, but Ginny was more dominant, and if that makes sense.
I kind of, I get what you mean. Ginny then says she wants in on the Giselle Shaw Danny Luna match in Cardiff for the gold, so we got a triple threat match
because she's a fighting champion.
She is a fighting champion. However, everyone then loses their minds, because who's back in Progress? It's only bloody Charlie Evans.
And there she is, stood on the stage.
And then from behind, in a lovely red jumper, it's pissing Millie McKenzie. Medusa Complex! Yeah! We have been talking about how they are probably one of the best tag teams in the UK right now. and I'm so happy they're here. If they're doing a whole thing of Ginny on her own fighting off Charlie and Millie, great. Charlie Evans, I know she's been doing bits in Shimmer and Shine and all that stuff in the US. She deserves to be on the platform of Progress because Charlie Evans is fucking amazing.
Totally agree.
Also, deathmatch between Charlie and Ginny down the road. I would like to see that.
Yes, please. There's another match for Strong Style Weekend.
Yes, there we go. We always have one death match. Then we get to the Progress main event. Cara Noir over Ilya Dragunov, Carl Fletcher and Paul Robinson. What a match.
Outstanding, like, just next level, wasn't it?
It was the first time in a long time we've had a legit ballroom moment. It's been a long time. And I told to some people, and they were like, Progress did... End of 2019, Progress was massively just... It almost became a little bit reheated NXT UK leftovers with added occasional indie guys.
Yeah.
They really failed to capitalise on the Eddie and David star stuff. They just literally seemed to run that off quite quickly, almost if they were...
I think that was availability and how long he was going to bout.
But then again, we thought he was leaving the country, and it turns out that he's back in Rev Pro. So,
but that's what I mean. Is that actually why it only ran as long as it did? Because, like I said to you, I don't think he wasn't ever supposed to win Strong Style. It was fortuitous timing for everything he had going on at that moment with the independent movement. So they were able to do what they did, and Eddie wins the belt. They extend it a little bit further from there through to the end of the new year.
Do you reckon plans changed on top of that as well regarding Jim leaving? Maybe that was a bit of a thing that kind of jumped in, and then things changed.
I think that came out afterwards. Yeah. So it's a new direction. They want to try different things.
In the words of Dave Meltzer, plans changed. But like, this is a great match. One of the first ballroom moments we've had in a long, long time. Ilya Dragunov died several times in this match.
He did. Yeah.
What was it? It was like the German buckle bomb superplex move, and somehow Ilya landed literally on the top of his head off the top rope.
Yeah. But like the opposite top rope.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous.
It's just obscene. The way they did it, you had Paul eliminate Carl, so I feel like maybe we get Robbo and Fletcher for the Proteus, but I would not be shocked if the next show Fletcher beats Robbo for the Proteus title.
No, Robbo got eliminated first.
Oh no, Robbo got eliminated by Fletcher, that's what I mean, sorry. So I imagine they're going to have that maybe for the Proteus belt down the line. I would not be shocked if Fletcher, the one he's on, it would make sense to put the Proteus belt on Robbo.
It would be a really interesting title to put on him to do something different, because he had that series of really good like heavyweight matches when he wrestled like Trent and everything going on when he took the step up from lightweight. Did
you clock the little callback at the end when Carl waves him and goes, that was for the ladder match?
Yeah,
which was a nice little spot. Then we had I think Fletcher was going for the tombstone on Cara, and then Dragunov hits the torpedo Moscow. Cara falls on top of him, 1, 2, 3, and then Ilya's face where he's like, fuck, I've got to face Cara again. Just the storytelling at the end was just delicious.
And like it finally balanced the story, because it was, I know there were only two outcomes, and that was one that Ilya wins, one that wins, but you had all the context of the story of Cara being the man who won the series between them. But then were you going to get the redemption story of Ilya getting that win back, and then it leading them to a fifth match, for a best of 5 series from there, and him proving to himself that he could actually beat Cara Noir.
Because then also as well, I feel like it was the perfect thing. I think for Cara to win made sense, because also to have all of this with all the change, and then to have an NXT UK contracted guy win the belt again. Like, I feel Cara's they've got to almost say, yes, we do have the NXT UK talent involved, but it's not about them, it's about who the right person for the right place is. And in my opinion, if they haven't got Eddie Dennis right now, Cara's the right person to lead Progress forward, because he's just had a meteoric rise and he's the perfect man for the job right now, honestly.
And his first show as champion, he's going to come about, he's going to get a very strong reaction because he's a tag champion. And I'm not saying that Cardiff is a tax home or anything, but there are a hell of a lot of routes for Attack there. He won the Attack title in Cardiff, so there's going to be a lot of people at that show that know him, know his roots, and have seen this growth throughout the year. Because as much as he's grown a massive amount in Progress, he had the whole year developing through Attack.
Yeah,
and Progress was only from late September onwards. So there's a very strong connection there with him. So I think it's going to be very special.
It is fascinating almost how, if you look at kind of the correlations for stuff, how a lot of people's it's almost as if Attack is the proving ground for Progress. If you look at the Danny Lunas, the Giselle Shaws, that was a struggle, the Cara Noirs, and even looking further back, the Pete Dunne, the Tyler Bates, the Mark Andrews, and all that stuff. Like, it does seem to they go, if it works in Attack, we can then bring them over into Progress, and Cara Noir really typifies that right now. Other things with Progress, they announced the first entrant for Super Strong Style 16, and somewhere our friend Nathan exploded.
Dave the Cloud.
Sure. We're going to talk about Dave the Cloud in a little bit, because this is why you're now best friends with Casey Catal as well. Jonathan Gresham was announced as the first entrant for Super Strong Style 16. Strong start, very strong start from them.
Are we sure it's actually Jonathan Gresham? Because the picture is somebody wearing an octopus mask. It could be Gene Money under there.
Either way, we all win. There were some fun things on Fight this past weekend. I watched some of them, so I'm going to talk about them. GCW Take a Picture, really, really good show. One to check out. I'd recommend going to look at Nate Webb against Ricky Starks. Really, really good match. Really entertaining. These two worked really, really well together.
It's weird. It's a bit like Indie Darlings of 15 years ago and Indie Darling of now.
Yeah, it's really, really fun. Alexander and Chris Bay was very, very good as well. Like two of the breakout stars of 2019 facing off.
Breakout flippy boys.
I didn't comment. I feel like when I text you this, you're like, I told you last decade, and I told you to shut up because you're an idiot. Look, I'm very intrigued by heel Ricky Shane Page, because it shouldn't work, because Ricky is the nicest human being on the planet.
It's amazing. I absolutely adore it.
However, I didn't clock that he comes out to Pete's old indie music. So,
well, you remember, he is Pete's friend.
This is true.
Ironically, and he was with Johnny's friend.
Yes, with old Gregory Iron. And defeated Mance Warner in a non-title match. Then we get to the main event. Nick Gage defeating Ali Cat. God bless Ali. It's a fucking nutcase.
In all the right ways, and maybe 2 or 3 wrong ways.
Got stabbed in the head with a screwdriver, which busted her open hard way. And this is the first time she ever got stitches. I found that out on her Instagram story. It's gruesome. It's very, very funny when Nick Gage is just hurling abuse at Ali Cat's mum, who's in the front row as well.
Fuck.
It's just, yeah. It's really, really good. I'd recommend checking it out. Also, I watched a little bit of Synergy Wrestling Tomorrow Comes Day. I wonder why I watched that. Was it because friend of the show and my friend Casey Catal was on the card? Yes, it was. She had a really, really good match against 2 guys by the name of Charles Mason and Joey Silver. Yeah, I've never seen her actually. I've seen her in a bunch of hardcore deathmatch stuff for CZW. I've seen clips of her. I've never seen a full match of her. She's very, very good. My friend is very, very good at the wrestling. Yeah, so definitely check that out. Brandon Kirk, her other half, faced Homicide in a street fight. Really, really good match as well. And also Jordan Oliver over Anthony Gangone. Really, really good. Guys we've loved from CZW as well. That's like a little Jersey promotion that runs around there. So I think we've got the big anniversary show coming up for CZW in the next few weeks, so we'll cover that as well. We got some newsingtons. Before we forget, I'll let you bring up the Beyond Wrestling thing, Mike, before we forget to say it.
Yeah, so in interesting news, we haven't really covered it a lot because it's been on Fight TV and sort of lives are busy. We've not had a chance to watch it. I've seen bits of it, but Beyond Wrestling have been commissioned a network pilot that's going to be filmed on Sunday the 1st of March in Massachusetts. That comes off the back of the Uncharted Territories series, the 2 series they've had on Fight TV. This could be huge for them. I don't expect it to be anything like, they come in for AEW or anything like that. I'm certain they don't, but this could be another place that exposes a lot of talent on the TV scene to a lot of people. It's not been announced on who has commissioned this pilot, but there may be that they've got a company that
is going
to be a company out there that wants to shop a pilot to networks. So this could be really, really important.
You know, like the old EWR game where you'd film a sizzle reel to send out to the companies.
It could be amazing. Like, it could be a whole new place for people to go to get exposure and go on and move forward, like how it was for how MLW was and still is, I guess.
Yeah. Hopefully that's good things. If it ends up on broadcast TV and we can watch it, it means we've got a third show to cover after all this time. Koala Slam was last weekend. Tal Bannerman, Lucy Openshaw's benefit show in Batley, up in the north of England, in Leeds, to raise money for wildlife hospitals in Australia for the devastating wildfires, which we're obviously all aware of. I think they've raised over £750 so far. That's not including all the stuff they did for Koala Slam itself as well. You can still donate. We'll put a link in the description, so please go and check that out. Little bits of GCW news. Alex Shelley's been announced for spring break. That will be interesting. I imagine he'll have an obligatory good wrestling match on there as well. But they've announced some big things for Bloodsport 3 as well. Davey Boy.
Have they announced Tamatonga versus Enzo yet?
No, because apparently Enzo Amore has refused to do it for any company, even for charity, because Enzo Amore is a prick. So
supposedly he was offered 25 grand for it.
Yeah, but just do it for charity. Like, do it.
Yeah.
Be a nice human being for once and take a beating from Tamatonga.
Get some karma back.
Get a consensual punch to the face, you prick. So they've got Davey Boy Smith's been announced for Bloodsport 3, and they've announced 2 matches for that card as well. The small matter of the match we didn't get last time with Moxley against Josh Barnett, and Minoru Suzuki versus Chris Dickinson. Bloody hell.
Wrestling dad versus wrestling granddad.
Yeah, that was my joke. I sent you that, you dick.
I know.
Even though Minoru Suzuki wrestled last night in inflatable form at Schadenfreude and Friends.
He did.
If they see that, Chris Brooks will not be able to step foot in Japan. Why would you do that? You're spending a year in Japan and you're going to antagonise Minoru Suzuki. He's going to
you just blame on Martin.
I texted you saying he's going to pile drive Manchester.
Probably. Wait for the next Rev Pro show he's on. He'll just go to Manchester for the sake of it and just pile.
I'm not here.
A big hole.
I'm going to forearm. I'm going to forearm the B in the middle of Manchester.
He's going to forearm fucking Old Trafford.
Other things as well. I believe I don't think I said this on pod. I keep screaming to anyone that will listen that Joe Nelson's going to become new Kid Lycos. And apparently it happened last night at Schadenfreude and Friends.
Look. It was Warren Banks. Get over it.
It was not Warren Banks. There is one.
People that were there told me it was Warren Banks. So it was.
There's one big difference between Warren Banks and Kid Lycos 2, and that's the fact that Kid Lycos was wearing a mask. Warren Banks did not wear a mask. So it can't be him. Yeah, so that happened.
Put one on.
That happened. Shut up. I'm a real dad. New Japan Pro Wrestling, they've announced a Lionsgate project at Mania Weekend with Tanahashi there as well.
Romero's on there as well.
He's been announced for Supercard of Honor as well. They've got a fair few people announced that show. It looks to be a big card.
All I'm going to say is that Ring of Honor New Japan link looks like it's still going.
New Ring of Honor is fine. It's fine. They are doing massive damage control on Ring of Honor to the point where they've got rid of Bully Ray as the head of the women's division. Why was the head of women's division? I don't know, because all he's going to do is just write down on a big whiteboard, push Velvet Sky. And everyone's like, she's retired. Push Velvet Sky. Gresham's now in charge of training and running the women's division. So, Jordan Grace incoming. Ring of Honor also announced a special past versus present event on March 14th. They're going to announce stars of ROH's past, such as Doug Williams, who seems to not understand the concept of being retired. Homicide, Matt Sydal, Necro Butcher, and more. They're going to have Necro Butcher versus PCO, and it's going to make me feel really sad.
I just say, can we go back, like, Necro Butcher? Like, when was the last time you heard his name?
Every time someone goes, where's Necro Butcher? And everyone Googles it and remembers a story that he won loads of money on DraftKings and started golfing.
Yeah. Golfing and watching college baseball.
Yeah, it's just... I don't want to see old Necro Butcher fighting PCO. They're going to do it as well. If we get Doug Williams versus Jonathan Gresham, however, I am all for it. The poster has also got Alice in Danger, Nicole Savoy, PCO, Marty Skull, Jonathan Gresham, and Bandido. That'll be fun, I guess. Won't be too bad.
Yeah, I think that's the day after the pay-per-view. I
feel like that's going to be going to be the next week of Ring of Honor highlight shows. They're no longer TV shows.
There's a pay-per-view show that weekend.
Yeah, there is. The 40th anniversary is on the Friday, the 13th. Yeah, of course, Ring of Honor, after all the shit they've had, would run a show on Friday the fucking 13th, wouldn't they?
Lol.
It's at Soundtown Casino in Las Vegas. One thing I wanted to bring up, I know you texted me earlier that LA Park's facing Charles Samuels at a Rev Pro show.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
That's penance, isn't it?
It's funny how life goes around.
Karma. My name is the Karma wears a referee shirt. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at TWM Wrestle. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Acast, TuneIn, YouTube, all that good stuff as well. TWM.news, you can check out the progress review from Kirsty Bailey. That will be out today, as well as that NWA Hard Times preview, which will be out at the end of the week. Michael, social medias.
I'm just going to look this one up because I don't know it off the top of my head. I probably should.
Linda McMahon.
I can't find it. I can't find her Twitter, but because she just got announced for Attack, go and follow Valkyrie. She made her NXT UK debut last week.
Real _ Valkyrie? You should have asked me. I fucking love the woke queens.
Soz,
there you go.
Just don't do that Twitter game so much.
And I'm happy that NXT...
Yeah, go and follow Valkyrie.
Yeah,
if you're in Cardiff this weekend, go and see, because I can't be...
You're the egg chasing, aren't you? So you can't be there.
No, I'm flying north.
You're flying north.
I am north.
Oh,
north. And not the wrestling.
You carved it. I'm flying north, and I'm like, you are now a Viking. What's happened here? You are flying Norsk. You are getting on a longboat. Anyway, I'm a Matty ID. Go follow Valkyrie. Follow us at TWM Wrestle. Check out our Twitter. We've made some big announcements this week. We've got some big partnerships that will be coming your way very, very soon. So keep an eye on that. We love you all. Thank you for listening. Go watch some independent wrestling. I'm not doing any this week, but over the next few weeks, I'm watching Ruddy loads, and you should too. So until then, fare thee well.